At this time of year, the rainforest can't decide whether it's sunny or rainy, so they coincide and dance between the valleys. Sun reaches through the orchard's meandering paths, and crystalline droplets of rain scatter between twirling fog, the eternal dance of autumn's arrival. The jumbo air tree flushes with fruit a few times a year, and this tree surprises us again with its last gift of fruit for this season. Jumbo juice down my face, autumn's indecisive sun warm on my back, and the soft droplets collecting on my skin. This is the feeling of the season. Tropical rain showers move quickly through the mountains. They come in seconds and can completely drench you and then just leave again, and the sun returns like nothing ever happened. Confused clouds fall below the horizon, water pools on each leaf, and the fruit and trees celebrate the warm sun and the nourishing rain. Back at the cabin build, I've got a lot of work ahead of me.
So last week I finished the whole top of this kitchen. This week I'm finishing the whole kitchen. So I'm going to put boards, these are old floorboards, and I'm going to reuse them and put them all along the sides so that they make really cute covered doors. On the back here I have less of a plan right now, but I'm thinking something more waterproof, like a sheet of iron or some sort of secondhand material, so that when the rain comes in from the side, it protects it.
I started cutting this shelf for storage underneath yesterday. I'm leaving it with a lot of gaps so that it gets airflow to avoid things going mouldy in the outdoorish area, which is pretty open to the elements. These beams will fit around the metal and screw into the structure, so I'm cutting little notches out of them with a handsaw. I think I'm finally getting better at sawing. Once you get the technique right, it becomes so much easier. We will use this space when we're camping to store plastic crates with our camp kitchen essentials and our esky for our food.
So I'm just going to test if the plastic crate does sit in there okay with just these slats, or if I need to build in a few more slats or not. I'm not sure. Oh, it's so heavy. I can't lift that. Oh my god. So I always do this thing where instead of pre-drilling, I go, well, I should just check that it needs pre-drilling. It might not need pre-drilling, and then I normally stuff it up and make it so that it's so much harder for me in the long run. Instead of just adding a few seconds of easy pre-drilling, I end up adding like so long of messing around with all the stuff that I stuffed up. But I haven't learned from my lesson, so I'm going to do it anyway. Oh my god, it didn't need pre-drilling!
The next job is cutting many floorboards to the right size. These floorboards are the ones that I collected from our neighbour whose floor flooded. So I'm reusing the boards for kitchen cupboards because the hardwood is beautiful and it really suits this spot. It's amazing when you can find a use for everything, and also the building costs become so much cheaper. I've almost spent no money on this whole build so far because everything that I've used has been secondhand.
There's a spider living in these boards. And it keeps... There it is. Hello. Goodbye. Okay, I've been thinking and considering and doing all the maps and measuring each board and seeing where it'll line up and seeing where the hinges will come off it and seeing if there's going to be extra over the edge or if I'm going to have to cut the boards. And it's a bit too much, so I think I just have to do it, and then it'll all make sense then. Because when you think about something too much, it can become very confusing.
There's still a little bit of marble dust here from last week, so I'm wearing a mask just in case. This is the satisfying part, when the image that's been only in your imagination for so long starts to become real.
So I still have no tool to actually cut this, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got the option of the jigsaw, which isn't really the right tool, the drop saw, which also isn't the right tool, or the reciprocating, whatever that one's called, the one that goes nyeh, 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 nyeh. Mum just calls it nyeh, nyeh, but I don't know its real name now. If I had some sort of clamp, I feel like this would work better, but I don't. But I have hope. I'm just gonna try it, and if I ruin this board, it's not the end of the world. That's actually pretty neat. But now I have to do the other side. And there's gonna be a section in the middle. Okay, I'm gonna try the nyonya. I'm worried. I'm worried that, because it's looking so straight, if I try this, I'm just scared it's gonna go all wonky. And I'm gonna ruin all my hard work, but I can't use the drop saw for the center bit because it's too long. So I think this is my only choice, except maybe the jigsaw, but I don't know. I have a better vibe about this one. Trying the handsaw, or as my uncle calls it, the Hansel and Gretel. Don't ask, he has a lot of weird names for things. Who's that? Come on! What I'm about to do isn't very smart, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to take the screws out of the work that I just did, just the bottom one, so it all stays intact, because I ran out of screws and I really want to keep going with this project, so I'm just gonna put them back in later. I'm just gonna borrow those screws. I don't know if this idea means that my screws are a bit loose, but it certainly is about to mean that my screws are a bit loose. So next up I'm going to make 2 cupboard doors that are here and swing outwards, and then I'm going to make 2 on that side, and then after that I'm close.
Some of the boards are quite warped, so this is easier said than done, but I'm just using the straightest boards and hoping for the best. One time when I was making a gate, I used screws that were too long and I screwed the gate into the table, so I think after that experience, any gate or door that I make is more impressive and I feel very proud of myself.
So I was going to make like a Z on the back of the door to, you know, hold and have structure, but it's harder than I thought this time because I have to cut it on more than a 45-degree angle, and the drop saw doesn't cut on more than a 45-degree angle, so I'm wondering if it's okay to just not do the Z. This is the reveal time to see if I did it right, because I'm not very good at the woodworking side of things, and often there's mistakes. It's pretty good! This one's a bit dodgy.
Seeing it in the space makes me feel very inspired.
1 down, 3 to go.
It's so cool that just with a little imagination, some old floorboards can become a beautiful kitchen, and it makes me feel so inspired to see opportunity in everything. There is so much beauty in reusing because it creates quirky features that you just can't buy from a shop. With the success of the first door, it's time to hang the rest.
Okay. So you might remember a few weeks ago I was really stressing because I had to grow all of the flowers for my brother and his partner's wedding. Well, the wedding was on the weekend and it was a success. I grew so many flowers and I ended up being a bit stressed because we did have the cyclone beforehand. So I got all of the neighbors to help out. I got all these women from the hills with their amazing flower gardens, and I went and visited them and collected flowers, and then all of these amazing women came and helped, and we all got all the flowers and picked them and arranged them all together and decorated this hall so beautifully. It was a really special day, and now our brother and his wife are off on their honeymoon, so that's really special, and it was just lovely. It was just all of the community coming together to celebrate all of the love. So through cyclones and floods and all of the in-betweens, I grew a lot of flowers. These are just the next week's flowers, so you should have seen how many there were last week. I'm pretty proud! I've got lots of zinnias and dahlias and cosmos are the main ones. And then there's lots of Australian natives as well. Like these ones are blue eyes.
While our brother was home for his wedding, he helped to cut back all of the fallen trees from the cyclone. The black sapoti that had fallen had actually survived because its roots were still in place. It had a new shoot growing straight up, so Riley just cut it back so there was less foliage for it to put energy in so it could regrow upwards.
This is what I'm inspired by most while I build. It's almost impractical the way that it's actually just a tree's branch that is being used and it sticks out. But it holds up different things and it's so beautiful, and I think it's beautifully impractical. I thought that I was going to need to somehow slice off the tongue of the board, but it turns out that I found one that already has the tongue sliced off, so it's the perfect size, so I'm going to use this one, which I'm really excited about. This is the moment of truth, seeing if the doors line up, and if I did it all correctly, they'll line up perfectly in the center. If I didn't, we'll see. So they meet perfectly, except that this one doesn't close properly. I don't know, maybe it's... Oh, it could be that. There's a little bit of leftover glue from when they were floorboards, and maybe that's getting in the way. Okay. No. I'm gonna go inside the cupboard to check. What I'm gonna do is cut off a bit of the tongue of this board so that it can fit into the groove. I think even maybe this piece is what's getting in the way. No! So I have a sneaking suspicion that I just cut the whole board and made it look really dodgy for no reason. I think that it might not be going because I think there's a bulge of paint here, and it's as simple as that. Well, I don't know what to do about that problem, so I'm just gonna leave it and hope that it solves itself. Maybe a doorstop will solve it, or maybe I'll think of something in the meantime. But I'm gonna move on to the next one. I bought more screws, so I'm putting back the screws that I borrowed earlier.
We have so many scrap materials that the whole family has collected over the years, our favourite being these highway signs that work for everything you would ever need.
So my solution to everything is always a highway sign because it's what we have the most of. So I've got a highway sign and I'm thinking that's a good weatherproof backing to this. I don't think it's going to work because I'd have to cut it off, which is really hard and I don't really have a tool for that. I'd have to paint it because it's half painted and ugly. And then the only other sign that I have, because it's not enough to go the whole way around, is completely dented everywhere. So this job is not a job for signs, and that's okay. Not everything has to be a job of signs. Part 2 of collecting random materials from around the farm and hoping that they'll work for the back of this kitchen. I think that's what this is good.
This metal will look so much neater. I just have to cut off 2 edges and then it will fit perfectly.
When I set out to make a kitchen, I did not expect it to look like this, with luxury marble and hardwood cupboards, and it's just so beautiful, and I can't believe that I made this with my own hands, and that I made it for $0. Not anything in this whole kitchen build cost me any money. These floorboards are recycled, the marble was free, the hinges maybe, I think I spent a few dollars on the hinges, maybe the screws. The benches were something that we collected from the tip years ago that I built onto. The iron on the back was just something we had in the paddock collected from somewhere. It's all completely reused.
I love this kitchen and all of its quirks. The broken marble we shaped around the beam so that it looks like it's supposed to be broken. The floorboards look so beautiful and the whole space is just glowing. I can't wait to cook here.